Welcome to Harbor Rock Wealth Management's Planning Tip of the Week. My name is Ruben Smith. I'm joined by my good friend and partner, Jimmy Lester. Welcome.
Here I am again. Can't get rid of me.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Well, today we're going to talk about something more broad, I think, in that aligns with emotions, investing in pivotal times as an American. And we're going to talk about what the historic stock returns have been during election years.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
exciting.
Before we dive into it, you got anything for us?
I have a stat of the day.
Oh,
for
shocker.
us.
Here we go. What do
That's
you got?
weird. 1964, Gilligan's Island debuted
Ooh.
on CBS.
3-hour tour.
3-hour two. Hello, lovey. I always wanted to say that. So are you?
You got your moment.
So Ginger or Marianne? That's a big
Ooh.
debate.
Ooh,
A lot of people,
Ginger.
I'm a Marianne guy,
Okay.
but I was also a lovey guy.
All right. That's it. That's stat of the day. Well,
Nailed
it
it.
was a 3-hour tour. I think was it 3 years that was on? Something like that?
Yeah. I remember watching that as a kid.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
fun.
Rewinds? Yeah. Rewinds.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bob Denver played Gilligan. Never saw him in anything again. I didn't, at least.
Bob Denver.
Bob Denver.
Relation to John?
Has to be. I don't know. Maybe that's the next stat of the day.
All right. Well, getting right into
So putting the 10 on the circus, this is a perfect time to talk about what we're going to talk about.
the circus is coming to town.
That's right.
Okay. Well, more and more we're hearing about the upcoming election. I think we even have another debate on the Republican side this week.
Yes.
And I thought it would be important to get in front of clients and show them or discuss how the stock market has performed in past elections.
Yeah, yeah.
And the reason being is I have a feeling this election is going to be similar to the prior few that were pretty polarizing, pretty entertaining, I should say. A lot of drama.
There's a lot going on
A lot of
last
emotions.
time. COVID was sweeping the world. We were having a changing of the guard in our president, and there was a ton going on. A lot of emotions running high.
Right, exactly. So I thought it would be important to talk about that because it's this is a time where we need to stay focused. We need to stay disciplined in our investment approach. And one thing that we've prided ourselves on at Harbor Rock and even prior is really not focusing on politics as a driver of how we make investment decisions for our clients.
Yeah, you know what? That doesn't mean we don't care about what's going on in the world,
Right.
even politically. But as long as I've known you, we've worked together for over 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I know what your political choices are, or where you lean. I have an idea of maybe based. You can think about those things. Oh, maybe the personality is the. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't mean I don't care about what you think.
Right.
But when we're talking about financial fundamentals and how they relate to what we do, politics don't play here. That card doesn't play.
We very much focus on the fundamentals of
Yeah.
what's transpiring right now in the economy, what's on the horizon with the economy. Our investment decisions for our clients are not based off of what if this happens, what if this happens, what if this happens. It's really focused on right now and realistically, fundamentally, how is the economy evolving?
Yeah, good point. And look at what all eyes have been on the Fed now for how long, and does it matter politically why that was happening? Not at all for us and for our clients in our relationship.
Right.
It wasn't the beacon that was driving what we were doing. Like people complaining, oh, blaming it on Biden or blaming it on something else, or it really doesn't matter. What matters is what are we doing? What kind of moves are we making? How are we being fluid? How are we pivoting? It's more of the ripple of what comes from what's happening. But at the end of the day, it's the root of why are we making the choices that we're making specifically for that individual's plan.
Yeah. We used to really avoid politics and religion and it. The last couple of elections, it's become so polarizing that you can't avoid politics in our client conversations. However,
Yeah.
it's we do pride ourselves on that being bipartisan and focusing on fundamentals, because that's really why we're being hired, is to cut through the noise.
Oh, can you believe, with all the channels of media
Sure.
communication, that everything's right now?
Mm-hmm.
And what do we say all the time? That there's so much information out there now, but the problem is there's so much information
Yeah,
out there now.
yeah,
You can really go down the rabbit hole,
sure.
real quick. And again, that's we're the professional financial bumper lanes and
Yeah,
in
that's right.
bowling.
That's
We're
right.
here to
That's
let's
right.
turn down the volume on the noise a little bit, concentrate on what's concrete, what matters, and what are the fundamentals, and how can we make moves.
Right. Exactly. I like that. Okay, so let's go back. This goes back to prior to 1928. The past 23 presidential elections. So 1928, Hoover was elected,
Okay.
or maybe reelected, but Hoover was elected, and 19 of those 23 elections resulted in positive market returns for that year.
Okay. So there's definitely a history there.
Okay, so 83% of the time, markets are positive. Now, there's been a changing of the guard in many of those elections, right? From Republican to Democrat, vice versa.
Does it matter? Does it make a difference?
It does slightly, but not. If you're looking at the overall return, it's not. The average return is still 11.28% over those prior 23 elections. So,
Okay.
bottom line is markets historically do very well in election years.
Okay.
Does that mean there's not going to be noise out there and volatility potentially? I would expect that. I do expect increased volatility next year. But does that mean that we change the course?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Right. What do you personally, do you attribute that trend to anything? Is it just like people are excited and they have like a newfound faith in, like, this is going to be good, this is a positive experience, and I'm going
Yeah.
to throw some more money into this country?
That's a good point. Well, a bulk of those returns of the 11% that I talked about do come in the last 7 weeks of the year.
Wow.
So what I attributed that to is investors knowing what the outcome is, and now they know what they work with, or what they're going to be working with. Let's say for the next 4 years.
Okay.
So maybe their investment decisions go from different from sector based off of maybe they're not going to certain sectors based off the results of the election. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it seems to be anytime investors have an understanding of what lies ahead, then they know how to play.
Yeah.
They know what they're working with. And I think that's actually, if you mentioned the Fed earlier, I think that's part of the hiccups with markets this year, is that the Fed hasn't really given a consistent stance on where they're at.
Like a timeline of, here's what we're going to do, and here's the time frame we're going to do it.
Yeah, they keep going right when markets think they have the Fed figured out.
Wouldn't that be nice?
They derail it again. So yeah,
Well, it's been a Wild West kind of
it's been
18 months.
It's been tough. Yeah, absolutely. So to take that a step further, because there's a Democrat in office now with President Biden, the historic returns when a Democrat is reelected is at 11% to the upside. Okay. When a Republican replaces a Democrat, it's 12.9%.
Okay.
Okay, so we do anticipate, I don't know if they're going to be in the 11% range, but we do anticipate markets to be to the upside next year. And that just goes right back into staying the course, staying disciplined. And we plan on being very proactive with our clients next year. We plan on fielding a lot of questions, inquiries, especially as emotions start to peak.
Well, the only thing that we do know is that there's going to be an election.
Yeah.
We don't know who's going to get elected. We don't know what's going to happen. But if there's anything to be said about those trends, as you were giving us, we might be in for a little positive result there.
Right. And oftentimes what we'll do is we'll go back to their financial plan and look at the bottom line. What type of return long term, historically, are we needing for you to get from point A to point B in your plan or reach those goals? And it's a nice reminder to show them in real time that they're on track.
Great. Well, I can't wait to see what happens.
Right on. Well, if you have any questions about this or any other topics we've discussed, please feel free to reach out. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next week.